In a heated exchange with the media, the White House press secretary said that US President Donald Trump has denounced white supremacists. Kayleigh McEnany defended Trump's stand on white supremacy, saying that Trump has denounced it repeatedly. McEnany responded by referencing statements made by Trump in recent days and in past years.
Just to clear it up this morning, can you, naming it, make a declarative statement that the president denounces it?
I just did. The president has denounced this repeatedly. The president was asked this. You're contriving a storyline and a narrative.
I'm just asking you to put this to rest.
I just did. I read you all of the quotes, and if you need to see them in writing, I will put them in an email. Paula.
So, Kayleigh, can you right now denounce white supremacy and the groups that espouse it?
I just did. The president has denounced white supremacy, the KKK, and hate groups in all forms. He signed a resolution to that effect. The president just last week, perhaps you all weren't covering it, but just last week expressed his desire to see the KKK prosecuted as domestic terrorists. This president had advocated for the death penalty for a white supremacist, the first federal execution in 17 years. His record on this is unmistakable, and it's shameful that the media refuses to cover it.
This comes after President Donald Trump refused to condemn white supremacists during the first presidential debate. He told one such group, known as the Proud Boys, to stand back and stand by. Joining us on this broadcast is Jagruti Dave, who's joining us for more on this story. From Washington, Jagruti, has the president really condemned and called out white supremacists or not? That's the big question. He failed to do so categorically in the debate, but he has tried to make a U-turn post that. Has he done it? And has this become the main talking point after the first debate? There are many other issues plaguing America at the moment.
This very much has become the main talking point out of that incredibly chaotic debate. And, the president has come under a lot of pressure from people within his own party to fully and explicitly condemn white supremacists. Senator Tim Scott, the only black Republican senator, said that the president misspoke and should correct it. And he said that if he doesn't correct it, then I guess he didn't misspeak. You have Senator Mitch McConnell of Kentucky, the majority leader in the Senate, calling it unacceptable not to condemn white supremacists. So the president is coming under pressure. And today in that White House, in that briefing, Kayleigh McEnany was essentially saying that the president has condemned white supremacists. She listed instances where he has in the past, commented on white supremacists. And the president has, after the violence in Charlottesville in 2017, he did by names talk about the KKK and white supremacy.
Right.
But the problem is that I think a lot of the president's critics see his equivocation as the problem. So at the beginning, before he condemned the KKK, white supremacists, neo-Nazis, and after Charlottesville, if you remember, he made that comment about there being very fine people on both sides, and then had to defend himself and explain what he meant by that. In that debate where he was saying, he was asked by Chris Wallace, are you willing to denounce white supremacy? He says, sure, I'm willing to, but I would say almost everything I see is from the left wing, not the right wing.
Right.
And then when he talked about, asked about who should I denounce, he talks at the Proud Boys, stand back and stand by, but I'll tell you what, something's got to be done about Antifa and the left. And the problem is that, a lot of academics, a lot of commentators see this as worry that this is legitimizing groups, far-right groups. I mean, the Proud Boys on some social media platforms posted the phrasing that the president used, stand back and stand by, as their new motto.
Right.
So this is what's causing the problem. And this is why people are asking the president to explicitly, unequivocally condemn white supremacy, and it seems that he has not quite done that.
Jagruti, like you mentioned, certain senior leaders within the Republican Party have called out Trump on this, so I'm sure this issue will be something that Trump will face further questions on in the days to come leading up to the second debate. But the question is, are the debate organizers mulling changes in the rules of the debate? And like you rightly mentioned, it was a chaotic first debate, isn't it? So what are the rule changes we're likely to see?
Well, we've not heard from the Commission on Presidential Debates on exactly what those rule changes are going to be. There's rumours that there's sort of, some suggestion to the change of format, some attempts to, people are talking about the possibility of a mute button of some kind or cutting off the mic when one person isn't speaking. Those are the sorts of things that are being potentially looked at, but the Commission hasn't officially announced what it is that they're going to announce. That's coming over the next few days, we understand. But even Chris Wallace, interestingly, the moderator of the first debate, he spoke to the New York Times the day after, sort of reflecting and reacting on that whole experience. And one of the things he said, that he wasn't really sure about this whole idea of muting. He suggested that, it's a lot more consequential to mute a presidential candidate than a lot of the pundits and commentators think it is. These are two candidates who are supported by tens of millions of Americans. So the idea of cutting them off or muting them as a moderator is quite a big thing to suggest. So it's got mixed reaction, this idea, but there are changes to come. President Trump is not in favour of changes. His campaign are suggesting that the Commission is siding on favouring Joe Biden by doing so. Also suggesting that Joe Biden doesn't want to continue with the other two debates, which is not the case. Joe Biden has said he is willing to continue and wants to continue with both of those debates. His campaign have said. The president's campaign has also said that he wants to continue those two debates and he wants to win them.
Right. Jagruti, stay with us. It was a heated first debate, wasn't it? Like you rightly mentioned, there were several key issues that Donald Trump and Joe Biden had to focus on, but the real issue that came out of the debate was Donald Trump's reluctance to call out white supremacist groups in America. Now, the president after the debate has tried to, damage control. He's come out with statements saying that he did condemn them. The White House press secretary was involved in a heated exchange with the media as well, and this will be the focus ahead of the second debate. But Jagruti Dave continues to be with us. Jagruti, we have focused on President Donald Trump. What about Joe Biden? We're hearing reports that the odds for Biden have improved after the performance in the first debate.
Well, Joe Biden was already in the lead going into the debates in the national polls. Coming off the back, several polls suggest that voters thought that Joe Biden had fared better in the debate than President Trump had. But I mean, really, this debate was, as many people have described it, chaotic. It was, many people have described it as a frustrating debate. It's unclear really whether American voters learnt anything substantial about the candidates or their policies. So really, it's been very difficult to choose a winner out of this debate. But many commentators have said what's certain is that the American voter is the loser from this particular debate.
Jagruti, thank you so much for joining us this morning and getting us the latest on what promises to be a fascinating election in November.